Okay, guys. Thank you for joining us today for the We Are Many Things podcast launch and walking tour. My name is Sage. I'll introduce myself further later. But yeah, thank you. I do want to make a note. Right now, we have Danielle passing out some papers. If you guys could fill out the survey, that would be amazing for us to get some feedback on this event and what we did and what we could do better. And when you guys are done, on your way out, you could drop it at the registration table. There's a little box there. Okay, I'm going to pass it on to Sharon to introduce our conversation today. And we'll get right started. Jump right in.
Do I need to introduce myself again, or do we need to do all that, or no?
We'll do it later.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for participating in our event today. So basically, I just want to provide a little bit more context. All of the things that we have talked about today, the history, the 5 features of modern racism, that lovely poem, Ikari, all of these things that we've talked about today has led to the conversation that we're having today and in this specific moment in time, and all of that history is interconnected and connected to this conversation, connected to the podcast, and our objective was really to provide you with context so that you have a little bit more of a sense of our history and maybe why we say some of the things that we say, why we think the way we think, and why we have the perspectives that we have. So I'll conclude with that.
Amazing. Thank you, Sharon. So, good evening, everyone. My name is Sage, like I said before. I'm the communications coordinator here at North York Community House. And I also worked on this amazing project with Casey, Rakisha, and Sharon. And today I'll be moderating this fireside chat about the podcast and what it means to be a part of the Black community, alongside our own personal experiences as Black people who are a part of the African diaspora. So to start off this conversation, I just wanted to go down the table and have everyone to introduce themselves. So Casey, we'll get started with you.
Hi everyone, I'm Casey. I am the community support worker here at Niche, and I'm from a small island called Grenada. Well, it's a tri-island called Grenada, Carriego, Petit Martinique.
Woo! Yay!
Hi everyone, my name is Rakisha Jean-Baptiste. I'm the girls program worker here at North York Community House. I am a mother to my son Kyrie, who's 8 years old. And yeah, that's about me.
Hi everyone, my name is Sharon. I'm a youth employment worker at North York Community House. I was born in Montreal, although my parents hail from Trinidad, and like Rakisha, I'm a parent as well. Two kids.
And since we're saying our backgrounds and stuff, my name is Sage. I was born here in Toronto, but my family is from Jamaica. So, thank you. So before we get into this conversation, we're actually going to be playing you guys a little teaser of We Are Many Things. This is from episode 3, and in this clip we'll be discussing what the term Black community means to us, and we will go from there.
We Are Many Things is brought to you by North York Community House. North York Community House is an organization that builds strong, resilient, and inclusive communities in Northwest Toronto. This is episode 3 of We Are Many Things, and we are joined by my guests Adam, Casey, and Rakisha. The terms Black and Black community mean different things to different people. In this episode, we'll be exploring what those terms mean to us as individuals and if our understanding of those terms have evolved over time. I hope you enjoy the conversation. Our community is often referred to as the Black community. And when you were growing up, what did that term mean to you, if anything? And has that meaning changed for you over time? What are your thoughts?
For me, growing up in the Jane and Finch community and hearing Black community was for funding purposes. It was stigmatizing, it had a negative connotation to it. It was just to get funding for a community. Although it did have some positives, it also did have some negatives. But it was just a stereotype that the community that I lived in. Now it has changed for me a lot because I can look at the Black diaspora and I can understand that terms are changing all the time. I'm able to embrace these terms and understand what it means as a person and also celebrate who I am.
Growing up in Grenada, even though we had history classes and we talked about slavery and all these things growing up, because everybody looked like me, even though they might have different hair texture, they look like me, they sound like me. Black community wasn't a thing for us. Growing up, it was more about colorism. Like in the family unit, if you're lighter, you get treated better. If you're darker, you're like, nobody likes you. They call you ugly. You have to do the chores that the lighter skinned sibling and family member is not allowed to do. So you might have to go out and tie the animal or clean the yard, do all the laundry, while the lighter skinned person stays inside. I'm gonna also talk about my younger self. My younger self, Black was a color. I didn't want anybody to call me Black. I was melanated or brown. Because even though brown is a color, my skin tone matched brown, not Black. So then I was really sensitive about being called Black. Growing up, Black community, it had a different meaning because it encompasses like all the shades, everyone. So when we talk about Black community, you talk about me, you talk about you, the person next to you, you know. Everyone has a little melanin in their skin, is Black. And in Canada and the Caribbean, I think Black community is totally different. Because even though back home you're really close and everybody like you don't hear people calling each other the N-word or stuff like that. Now, because of TV shows, movies, songs, and stuff like that, you might hear the language, you might hear the word, but we don't use that word to talk to each other or call each other that word. But in Canada, it's different. You know, you'll get a little snide comment here and there because like people like you or you people or them Black people, stuff like that. So in Canada and back home, the meaning of Black community is totally different.
I've always had an uncomfortable relationship with the terms Black and Black community because I felt that they were forced upon us and they didn't encapsulate all that we are, and which I saw as an example of injustice and another way for people to minimize and misrepresent our community. And so there's a history of disempowerment, mistreatment, lowered expectations, and disrespect. And these things, in my mind, were tied to those words. That being said, my thoughts and feelings have evolved over time. And I think that's because we have reclaimed those terms and we're changing and challenging their definitions and what it means to be of African descent. And the idea that Black is beautiful and that there are so many wonderful things that flow out of our community. For example, a history that is filled with activism, innovation, and creative expression, science, exploration, and firsts, etc. You know, we've given so much to humanity, and I love that fact, and I'm really proud of it. And for those reasons, those terms represent something more positive to me now.
Okay, so let's have a round of applause for sharing Casey and Rakisha on the podcast. I think what makes this podcast so unique is that everyone has different perspectives, and I think we all saw that reflected in this clip here and across all the discussions that were had. For me, as a Black woman who was born and raised here in Toronto, which is often cited as the most diverse city in the world, being part of the Black community is fundamental to who I am. It's a really huge part of my existence, how I navigate this world, and it has never been something that I deemed as negative or something I felt ashamed of. If anything, for me, it's a source of pride. There's so much beauty, strength, and complexity within the Black community, which I feel like we all saw today on the walking tour as well. But hearing all of your reflections and now being a part of this incredible process, from recording to creating this launch and walking tour, is really made me reflect more deeply on what this term means. So that brings me to my first question. Since recording the podcast and now working on this launch event and walking tour, has anything changed for you in how you understand the term Black community? And how has your definition or understanding of the term evolved during this time? And Sharon, we can start with you and go down the table.
Okay. So I've softened my stance on that term, Black, and I think, and it was always evolving, but I think, hearing the different perspectives of, my colleagues and the conversations that we've had, my perception of that word and that meaning has changed for me. The meaning of that term has changed for me. So I'm looking at it in a more favorable way. However, I prefer to use person of African descent because I chose that. That's how I choose to identify myself. And I also think for me it's important because it connects me to my African history. It connects me to, as I mentioned during the tour, that the part of my family, my father's side was slavery. It connects me to all of those, the innovation, the kingdoms of Africa, all of the innovations, all of those wonderful things that are associated with people of African descent. And so it has, so my appreciation for the word Black has improved, but I do prefer to identify as a person of African descent because it connects me to all those things that I think are important.
Well said, Sharon. So for me, the term Black has not changed for me. I continue to embrace my identity, my culture, and that makes me who I am. So as I reflect on the podcast, the launch, the event, and the walking tour, I've come to realize the term encompasses not only our shared struggles and challenges, but also our rich culture and heritage. In the podcast, I did highlight the term Black community is always evolving, and it excites me because of the work we as a community have accomplished and continue to strive towards.
Thank you, guys. For me, same as Rikisha, I don't think there is much change because I'm old, so I'm stubborn and stubborn. I think it hasn't really changed that much. But what I do see, I see allyship, I see people working together, I see different communities embracing different communities. I see people embracing some of our traditions and cultures and food the way that they never used to before. I recognize people are noticing and realizing we share some of the struggles and even the triumphs. So yeah, I see a great sense of solidarity between people. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you all for your answers. And I appreciate you reflecting on your journey and how that has changed your perception of the term Black community. And Sharon, I like your term person of African descent as well. So throughout the podcast, you each shared how your values and cultural upbringing influence how you show up in the world. How do these values shape the way you connect with or contribute to the Black community today? Casey, we could start with you.
Yeah, I can start. My values, I think it made me a better woman, a better mom. I have two beautiful melanated daughters, so made me a better mom. I think I became a stronger and better advocate for people who look like me, and the people I serve, no matter where they come from. It makes me more understanding to other people's struggles and beliefs and way of life. So yeah, I think, yeah, that's it.
For me, I like this question because as a mother and a girls program worker, my values and cultural upbringings deeply influence how I show up to the world and contribute to the Black community. So, for example, I've chosen to enroll my son, Kyrie, to an Afrocentric alternative school where he's continuously learning about himself, his heritage, and the importance of Black culture. And by making these intentional decisions, I'm able to instill my son the values of self-love, community empowerment, and cultural pride, which also sets him up for a lifetime of growth, of learning, and positive contribution to the Black community. For my girls program, on the other hand, I focus on mentorship, community engagement, and creating a safe space for young girls that I serve, and while also supporting Black-owned businesses, of course. This year, I'm also excited to be a part of the ARAO Advisory Committee at North York Community House. And lastly, I've taken this initiative over the years to showcase and celebrate the Black History Month at Niche. And with all this on my belt, it has allowed me to further amplify Black voices and promote community growth.
Well done. Anyway, so yeah, so they're wonderful. All three of these ladies are wonderful. You know, I think so. I guess the question is about the cultural values, and I think, and I just look at my parents and what they modeled, and my extended family. And first and foremost, one of the cultural values is just pride, pride for being a part of my family, pride for being a part of this community. And, you know, I was taught to try to be good to other people, and to be the change that you want to see. And that if we want the world to function in a particular way, or we have a vision for ourselves in the world that we want to live in, then we have to be intentional about working towards that, and that's a value that I learned from my family, and also just the idea that we have to continue to learn. Like one of the reasons why We Are Many Things, one of the reasons why we're doing this event today is really I think to invite people in so they get to know us, and then hopefully we make the effort to get to know others, because if we really want, I said this a few times tonight, if we want to live in an inclusive environment, which is an environment that I grew up in, then we have to be intentional about working towards that. And so that's that's a value, and just I guess we're all here because we all have a helping personality, and that's why we do the work that we do. And I think a lot of that, I don't want to speak for other people, but it's likely been instilled in us by our families and those individuals who, those people who, that we're connected to and who mean something to us. So those are some of the values that I gained from my family and my community, and and just a desire to help people in a way that is meaningful to those that we assist, and in a way that is meaningful to me.
Thank you all for answering the question. I just want to say, Rakisha, I really admire how you're instilling these values with the youth. I think that's really, really important, so that they can grow up and be in this world engaging with and uplifting our community, but also other communities. So I just think that's really important to instill those values in our youth as a society so we can move forward. So question 3, what challenges have you encountered in trying to balance your cultural identity with societal or personal expectations, whether as a newcomer, a child of immigrants, or as someone navigating different spaces? Sharon, go ahead.
Okie dokie. Okay, that's an interesting one. Well, I think if I'm being frank, I think it can be pretty frustrating, because it can be frustrating, a little stressful, and sometimes it feels like an uphill battle because you are. Because you're battling, we talked about the 5 features of modern racism, which it comes up here. And so, and not just for people of African descent, for many communities, you're constantly having to battle against the 5 features of modern racism. And so, there's a couple things at play. You have the reality of what you know your community to be, what you know that you are, what you know your family, there's the, what you know about yourself, your community, the people that you belong to. And that's the reality. And then you have the preconceived notions. And you're constantly, forced to confront that. So those 2 things are in conflict with each other all the time. And it's challenging because you know the reality. And you're constantly having to combat that, whether it's having to swallow, some of the nonsense that one may hear, or having to refute something, or having to model something, and that puts a lot of pressure on you. So it can be frustrating at times. But then, sometimes it's not always like that. Sometimes you meet people and you can see that, you can see that your impact in others. So when they get to know you, it can definitely open their minds a lot. So that's a positive thing. I think in the end, and that's what this podcast is about, and that's what this installation is about. That I think that knowledge is in fact power. And one of the ways that we can address this is by learning as much as we can about ourselves, and then learning as much as we can about others. Because if we do that, then that will breed understanding, and it will create an environment that allows us to see each other as people, as real people, and we can see beyond the labels.
Well said, Sharon.
So that you know
This is a tough one. So this question, I had to sit with this for a couple of hours. It was, a lot of thinking. And so it was like, what challenges have you encountered? And I had to think about my younger self and realize, why am I doing the work that I do, right? What inspires me? And it brings it back to role models, finding role models who reflect my identity, and which has also been crucial in my personal and professional growth. Seeing individuals with similar experiences as me, which is these lovely ladies here, has done a lot for me, actually. It validates my own experiences and encouraged me to empower others in my community, which is why I joined the We Are Many Things podcast. And this experience really has taught me, with you guys, wonderful ladies here, the importance of advocating for myself, promoting inclusivity, and not only in my work, but in my personal life. So I thank you guys
Well, thank you.
for your support, and the other staff as well, who also encourages me as well. So you guys are my role models. Don't let my mom know.
That's so sweet. No,
Don't
that's
tell my
lovely.
mom.
I think one of the challenges I face is balancing my cultural identity with what is expected socially. The expectation to fit in a space that may not think I belong, while still trying to be true to my roots. In some spaces, there's this silent expectation for me to downplay who I am, my roots. If I speak in like my cultural dialect, they may not understand me and want me to speak, as we say, quote unquote, proper English. But if someone else is speaking their language or their dialect, the expectation is for me to understand or try to understand, or, to be something that I'm not, I guess I want to say. But I will say, as a person from where I come from, the people in my life, the people I surround myself with, it teaches me to be resilient and to take pride in where I come from and who I am and what I do, the people I help. And when you help someone and they come back and they really appreciate what you do. So I think just it's the expectation of being somebody that I'm not. That is one of the challenges I have. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you all for sharing. I really appreciate your answers. On a lighter note, we have our final question. As you reflect on everything shared in the podcast, from culture and identity to connection and community, what message or insight do you hope listeners walk away with?
I can start. I hope listeners walk away with the understanding that embracing their culture, whatever it is a powerful form of connecting. It's resiliency and it's togetherness. And no matter where you come from, no matter your stories, your beliefs, the way of life, your life matter. By sharing our life experiences, by talking to these amazing women here, we may all come from different walks of life, but we can celebrate our differences together. And we recognize that building true alliance requires us to be true to ourselves, to be vulnerable, and to show respect to everyone, no matter creed, color, culture, or whatever you believe in.
Well said.
Yeah.
I'm going to echo what you said, Casey. What I want listeners to do is to listen, to embrace and immerse themselves in the differences within the Black community. I want listeners to connect to the stories that we shared. We all have stories to share, and we should all be encouraged to share them by creating safe spaces to do so. And by sharing our stories, we're able to create a more understanding and inclusive world. So I want you guys to listen to the podcast, share it out, and enjoy the podcast. And if you guys have any questions, concerns, you guys could always raise these questions to us as well, or to your peers as well. So just engage in meaningful conversations.
That's great. So what I was thinking is when we started working on this podcast, what was great was I learned many things from these ladies that I'm sitting with, and the village who's helped us sort of present this launch and everything. What I learned was that it's important to have difficult conversations both inside and outside of your community. Because we have all of us, we have similar backgrounds, but we also have different backgrounds. And the conversations that we had helped evolve my thinking. And so I think it's really important to have difficult conversations. Again, with both inside and outside your community, because we really do want to build understanding. And one of the lines in the podcast is that communities are not monoliths, and really they're not. They're extremely diverse. And one of the things that we can do to create a really welcoming environment is to remember that those labels, we have to see beyond those labels, and I think that's important, and be intentional about getting to know people. On this project, we had a lot of people from different communities, helping to put this together. And that's something that was really lovely about that. That exchange, the exchange I had with these ladies, the exchange that I had with all of you, because it took all of us, the village, to do all of this, and those exchanges have had an impact on me. So I'm changed. I've evolved just from this experience. These conversations that we've had have really made a difference. So be intentional about having conversations. Be intentional about getting together with people who are different, who are similar to you, but are also different from you. Because I think we have a lot to teach each other, and ultimately all of that is to breed understanding. And I think that diversity is a beautiful thing, and it can be found within your community and outside of it. And it's something that we really do have to cherish and nurture. As we would a garden or something else. But that's maybe my parting message.
Thank you all for sharing. Very briefly, if the audience has any questions, comments, concerns, remarks, anything, we would like to open the floor up to you guys. It could be about our conversation today, about the walking tour, about the podcast. If anyone has anything to say. If not, no problem. We'll continue the conversation. Actually, we have one person here. Give me 1 second.
There you go. Go ahead.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. I just wanted to make a comment real quick and say that thank you so much for thank you so much for making time for preparing all of this. It was very informative, and I hope we all got a piece from the presentation and everything, and it was all beautifully I think presented. So that's pretty much it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, and thank you for being a part of that, because you're a part of this. So we thank everyone for participating in that.
Thank you for your comment.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Thank you, everyone. Actually, I don't have any questions. Same like him, I want to have a comment. I'm not from Black community, but still I really appreciate the value and the information you all provide. So I am looking forward to connect with each individual individually. So that's completely mind-blowing information, and the history, the art, and everything that you guys put your time and give the value that you provide. That was amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. if I could just add a response to what you just said there. First of all, thank you very much. But I also want to thank you. And everyone else for coming and joining us today, because the reality is you're doing exactly what we all should be doing. All of you is getting to know others. And the space that we're sharing right now, like this history that we talked about, it's part of our collective history. So, and we're all interconnected we're all interconnected. So I thank all of you for taking the time to participate, because your being here has had an impact on us. So thank you. Thanks for your kind words.
One final comment here.
Hey, this is.
So it's just a simple question. So what is next after the wealth of information we've got from this podcast?
That's a good question.
Thank you.
Next in terms of us, or next in terms of what our hopes are for those who participated?
No. Next, in terms of what we have learned from this thing.
Okay, what you want? Well, you guys want to speak to that, or I could maybe make a comment? Okay, so ultimately, great question. You're a teacher. But no, that's true. Okay, so basically, I think that's a wonderful question, and it requires a lot of food for thought. But what I will say is that we wanted to create an experience, but we also want you to take what you've learned and try to apply it in your day-to-day life. So for instance, we talked about the 5 features of modern racism. And what we know is, not only does that impact the Black community, or people of African descent, it impacts all communities. So if we can at least commit those 5 features to memory, then we can, if we commit it to memory, and if you remember it, it'll change the way that you look at the world. And if you change your perspective, then when you see these things cropping up, you can act. You can choose to say, you know what, this is a label, so let's see beyond that label. Or you know what, this history, I think there's more to this story, I need to learn more. So maybe what we're asking you to do is take what you've learned and go out and learn more. Learn more and take that knowledge and apply it in your day-to-day life. Because ultimately, we're all here for a reason. We want to live in a place that is accommodating and welcoming to all of us, and a place where we can all learn and grow and develop. And maybe let's look at this as, to answer your question, it's the starting point of a very long conversation. You have this now we're giving it to you, and can you please take it and help make this environment that we're living in even better, more equitable, and do what you can to make it even better than what it is currently. So I guess does that answer your question?
Can I piggyback off of what Sharon
Yes, please
said?
do.
Also, what we did plan, this was a pilot to something we want to achieve yearly and do and extend and grow. So we will have a display downstairs of most of the information that we have here today. And then for every February, I hope I'm saying that properly, I'm Grenadian, don't watch that. Anyway, February, we will be having a Black History Month presentation and hopefully event, if we can get the funding for it. But that is the hope and the dream of starting this.
We can add to that, and we're going to continue to add to that. And as you suggested in this, we're going to turn it into, we'll work on turning all this information that we have into something concrete, and make it, and maybe turn it into something that we can add to our libraries, and then we can give out so that this information is readily available. So more conversations need to be had.
And I do know that Sharon has an idea or dream to do different groups of people.
Absolutely,
So hopefully
absolutely.
it will grow from.
Yeah, we'd like to profile other communities, because we want to learn, and I know that people are hungry to learn more about each other.
Yes.
Amazing. Round of applause for our panelists today.
Oh, round of applause for Sage.
Thank you. So I just want to say thank you guys for staying with us to the end. It's really, really appreciated. If you want to listen to We Are Many Things, scan the QR code, or you could visit wearemanythings.podbean.com. All 7 episodes are out. I worked really hard on putting them on editing them. So please listen, share with your friends, and And like these amazing women said, hopefully this is the beginning of a longer conversation for all of you.
Amen.
Yeah, go ahead.
Wonderful.
Okay, so I have the pleasure of doing the thank you note or message. Can Alex and Ola, wherever you are, come in? Okay. So hello everyone. I would like to thank you all for coming and supporting the We Are Many Things podcast launch and guided tour. Thank you for making this event a success. I would like to thank the bringer of ideas, Sharon, for bringing this idea to us and for facilitating the work that brought this vision to life. I would like to say a special thank you to Carol, who's not here today, but she is here in spirit, for taking the time to bring us together on a weekend for the taping of the podcast and the tireless work she did behind the scenes to bring this together. A most generous thank you to Sage, who came in and jumped on seamlessly, worked on the podcast, and all other aspects of making this a success. She's really small, but she's mighty. Yeah. Thank you to Rikisha, Idiom, Lionel, who is not here, but he made it so much fun to talk. They all made it fun to talk about our lives and creating a space so that we can be free and open with our thoughts and ideas. Thank you to Alex, Goldin, Mirna, Ola, and Pooja for all your help and all your problem-solving skills. To our staff, volunteers, researchers, and community members who supported and contributed to making this event a success. You are the quiet champions whose tireless work happened behind the scenes, but your dedication ensured everything ran smoothly, so thank you. A heartfelt thank you to our managers, director, and executive director for showing up and supporting this amazing initiative. Your love for the community and the work that we do shine brightly every day. And I want to say a special thank you to our volunteer coordinator who helped us ring in all the volunteers.
Yes.
Daniel, I should mention her by name.
Yes.
I want to say a special thank you also to our manager, Elizabeth, for allowing us to try new things, be creative, to fail, to triumph, and to realize that we can do anything through our belief in ourselves and through teamwork. Thank you all for coming and supporting, and good night.
Can I just say one last thing and we'll take long? I just wanted to say thank you, first of all, to everybody, and you said it very well. But I'd also like to say thank you to my fellow panelists and for Sage and everyone who you really made this a really enjoyable conversation. We had a wonderful, wonderful conversations that took place even after the taping. So it's been a pleasure, and they helped organize this event. And boy, I learned a lot. So thank you for that. It's been a pleasure, and thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.